Namaskar, Adab, Sat Sri Akal, good evening. This is Indranil Chaudhury. I would like to welcome once again to my show, which is named In Conversation with Indranil Chaudhury. I would like to thank Sarb Akal Music Society of Calgary and Haji Singh ji for giving me this opportunity to present to you a series of artists who have been contributing to the world of classical music. But the artists need a lot of support, and we have the administrators and music visionaries for that. Today, I have a great pleasure in introducing to my mind a fantastic music visionary who has the vision for Indian classical music to move ahead in time. So I have in my studios today one of the directors of Sarb Akal Music Society, and as I said, a music visionary and an administrator, Suneetha Alokam. I would like to welcome Ms. Suneetha Alokam.
Namaste everyone. Thank you Indranil ji for having me here today, and thank you Sarb Akal team for giving me this opportunity, and thank you viewers for being with us today.
Thank you Sunita ji, and for the sake of thousands of audience globally present of Sarb Akal, they would like to know little bit more about who is Suneetha Alokam. And today I'm proud to say that thousands of viewers are watching this show on Sarb Akal TV YouTube channel. So Sunita ji, kindly introduce yourself.
For sure Indranil ji. As you mentioned, my name is Suneetha Alokam. I've been very fortunate to study at different places in India. Did my BSc from Nagpur University, and then I did Masters in Biotechnology. Moved to Calgary as a student to pursue my Master's degree in Molecular Biology at the University of Calgary. So I've been in Calgary for past 25 years. And I've been involved with different volunteer work and been associated with various activities, social and cultural activities in the community, and then been working for Sarb Akal team for about 4 years now, and I'm very glad to be part of Sarb Akal team.
Sunita ji, that was very humble. It was a very short introduction. I know you have got so many words to say, but as usual you're very humble. So let the audience know a little bit more about you, explore a little bit more about the interests and passions in your life.
I have many interests and passion in life. I'm very interested in Indian classical music and dance. Along with that, with a strong background in bio, I'm also interested in reading various science articles and sharing my knowledge with my friends and colleagues. I've been volunteering for teaching high school biology and chemistry online, and we also have a small team where we are teaching Telugu. Telugu is my mother tongue, to kids in Calgary, and this we started about a year and a half, and it's going pretty well. Along with this, I'm also interested in volunteering for the food drive or anything like as and when wherever I can chip in, I would like to do that. And I like biking and hiking, and yeah, lots of things. We also currently I switched to IT, and I'm working for Quorum Software, automation related work in IT. I love to share that, and then I attend different seminars based on that.
Sunita ji, that triggers the next kind of curiosity on behalf of the audience. I would like to know what made you volunteer for a charity organization, Sarb Akal.
As mentioned, I've been always interested in Indian classical music and dance, to which I've been exposed to in school and as a part of growing up in India, you are exposed to the surroundings as part of culture. For the past 10 years, I've been involved with conducting different dance workshops or helping a team conduct the workshops. We've also been working in small teams to conduct various dance events and performances. Then I happened to know about Sarb Akal team when they conducted Indian Classical Idol in 2015, in which my daughter participated. And I thought that was done very well, focusing on classical music. Very soon after that, we were conducting a dance workshop for which I approached Harjit ji, and he was ready to help us with that event. And that's how my association with Sarb Akal has started. And since then, I've been volunteering here and there. But just before COVID, Harjit ji requested me to join Sarb Akal team, for which I was a little hesitant. But then when I looked close into the team, I saw their passion for music, and I was quite inspired with their passion, and I joined their team. Since then, I've become part of Sarb Akal team.
So, Sunita ji, how and why did you choose to explore Indian classical music, and do you have any role models?
Indian classical music, like any other art forms, is very deep, ancient, and fascinating. There's so much creativity, diversity, and technical brilliance that one can experience even just by watching the performance. And I think it's very important for our younger generation to be exposed to this kind of classical music. And also, arts provide many opportunities to connect to the roots and to understand the culture and heritage. So I think it's very important for everyone to connect to their roots. And coming to your next question, for role models, to begin with, my parents, and then anyone who is a genuine art lover is my role model.
Sunita ji, I really loved where you said about the brilliance of an artist. Yeah, I really like it. And not only that, I would also like to add here that Indian classical music is all about improvisation. When, say for example, a sitarist is playing with a tabla player, they have their own rehearsals for hours and hours, night after night they rehearse. But when they are at the stage together, they probably don't know what they're going to do in the next minute or so, because it's all about improvisation. So you're very right about saying it. Now, my next question that leads to from your previous answer is, how would you like to compare the audience from India with that of audience from abroad, and what is the Indian classical music scene today in India in comparison to that of the Western countries?
The quality of a performance is greatly dependent upon the quality of the artist presenting, as well as the knowledge of the audience. So it's a two-way communication, and this knowledge of audience is very helpful in inspiring the artist. Maybe because of the structure and grammar of Indian classical music, having some background knowledge is always helpful, even for the audience who are attending, to enjoy and to get the full experience of the concert. In India, there's already a section of audience who are very well versed with all this and who have more experience in attending the concerts. Coming to West, there's two categories of audiences. One category is in the audience who come from Indian diaspora, who may be already exposed to this kind of culture, and the other audience is the mainstream audience. So they may not have these many opportunities to attend the concerts. So it's very important to educate these mainstream audience as well as the younger generation to understand how a basic concert is like, and what the structure of Indian classical music is. For that, we can have lectures or workshops and there are many listeners who just want to have a basic understanding. They may not want to be learning the art to perform, but that understanding is also very helpful in promoting the art and get that full experience of concerts. So building audience is very important, I think, whether it is in India or abroad. And in West, it is more important because, like I said, we don't have that many opportunities and that kind of exposure. So once the artist is recognized in abroad, they also have an edge. They'll get more recognition back home. It kind of when the art is accepted abroad, it kind of gives more prestige back home. It's important to promote in the West as well, by building good audience and promoting it.
Sunita ji, I really enjoyed your answer when you talked about the communication between the audience and the artist. A great example that comes to my mind, that was a concert which we organized in Edmonton of Pandit Birju Maharaj ji in memory of my mom Purnima Chaudhury ji. Harji ji always he has driven from Calgary to Edmonton, and many of them have also driven. So that was a time when Panditji was so impressed with the audience communication that I got a message from the backstage that Panditji has requested if we can increase the time of the concert by half an hour. So that is how the set of audience can really encourage even great artists like Pandit Birju Maharaj ji. Now I have a very difficult question for you, Sunita ji. There is a big debate today which goes on. There are people who say Indian classical music is now a dying art. There is not much of future left in it. It will slowly get extinct. But others, the advocates, they say Indian classical music is here to stay. So what is your comment about it?
It is indeed a very interesting question, Indranil ji. But I must say it is very reassuring to say that Indian classical music has survived 2 millennia or maybe more. And throughout its existence, it has shown resilience as well as assimilation of various socio-cultural elements. However, whether it is a real or virtual platform, it has always been for a niche of audience with specialist knowledge. It has never been for masses like popular music or dance. But thanks to Ustad Ali Akbar Khan and Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, who has brought Indian classical music to the West in 1960s, and many eminent artists who followed after them. So it is very reassuring that now we have Indian classical music as a global presence. It may still not be as a mainstream phenomena, but we all know that it is reassuring that we have it as a global presence, and how we build the audience and how we promote it is a different thing. So I'm very confident about its existence in the present as well as in future too.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being associated with Sarvakal Live TV. And as I requested you, you can talk to your friends all over the globe to subscribe to YouTube channel Live TV of Sarb Music, and you will be getting some surprises day in and day out. Music will never stop. So now is the time to take a very short break to recognize those persons or the organizations who are making this event possible, the sponsors or the advertiser. So we will be returning after a very short break with the continuation of our discussion with our music visionary Suneetha Alokam. Thank you. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, after this short break. Hope you are enjoying this show. Now we will go back to our conversation with our music visionary Suneetha Alokam ji. And this is the meat of the question. Now, Sunita ji, what are your inspirations which drives you to be a music administrator and a music visionary, and what do you think is the role of a music visionary and how it can really help the performing artists in a global stage?
As a volunteer at Sarb Akal team, we like to promote local talent, create a platform to expose our young artists to wider audience, and for this I'm involved with conducting various events involving local talent, national and international artists. I'm also involved with finding sponsors for our events, and I intend to work towards music education through workshops, building audience, and giving a platform or providing platform is what Sarvakal always thrives for, and so that these young artists get an opportunity to be exposed to wider audience, and I think that is very important to encourage local and young talent.
So, Ms. Suneetha Alokam, please let us know about how you are contributing through this platform of Sarvakal Music Society to the future generations, and what has been your major outreach efforts.
Sarvakal team conducts everyday events on music and dance. Along with this, we also conduct ICMF, which is Indian Classical Music Festival. It's an annual festival that's conducted every year in the month of September, for which we bring in artists, local artists, national and international artists from all over the world. So I'm involved with that. And recently we conducted the Spirit of Festivals, focusing on the New Year celebrations in different regions of India. Including about 100 local participants and a few other artists from India as well, which has been received very well by our audience. Along with this, I'm also involved with conducting talk shows with various eminent artists, where they come in and share their knowledge and experiences with our audience, which is very helpful for young learners, I think. Yeah, we are involved with many events in promoting local talent.
So, Sunita ji, now a very interesting question, in fact, a two-part question. I'll ask the first part first. It's about a glass ceiling. You know, a glass ceiling, just to clarify a little bit, it's an imaginary, ceiling which, when people look up towards the sky, they see the sky, but when they want to go up, they see this almost transparent ceiling that you are. There is a ceiling which is a glass ceiling. Either you're able to break it and move forward or not. So especially women and people of color in a foreign land, when they try to integrate with the new culture, they face this challenge of a glass ceiling. So do you think, as a music administrator and a music visionary, you also face a similar kind of a challenge, which is a glass ceiling?
Another interesting question, Indranil ji. I think the major challenges are time management, family support, and support from team with whom you are working with. So for the first one, for time management, it's all about planning and setting priorities. It's also important to make your family members understand that what your interests are, and for me, fortunately, my family is very supporting. They do realize the importance of volunteer work, because they themselves are also involved in different volunteer works. My husband and son work for volunteer for Calgary Chess Association, and my daughter also actively participates in volunteering for Calgary Public Library. And so even if I'm not there, they're very independent, and they can do things on their own when I have to be away. So that way I'm very fortunate. And coming to my team, they are very supportive. I give in my ideas and then my opinions, and they support me, and they're always there. So again, it's very important to have that kind of team support with whom you are working with. And you mentioned about coming from a minority communities. Yes, it is important for us to be for us to have representatives in arts councils like Alberta Arts Development or Calgary Arts Development Council. So for our voice to be heard and for our presence to be felt, I think it is very important to have us working as volunteers for these arts organizations as well, not just working in silos in our small organizations. Yeah, we need support from bigger councils as well.
A quick follow-up question. You wear so many hats, so how do you really manage? You talked about your time management skills, but how do you really balance your time between your professional life, your family life, and your volunteer work?
Like I mentioned, it's all about planning and prioritization. Sometimes you may have so many things coming at the same time, but if you plan ahead and if you have organized it in such a way that one thing is not conflicting with the other, yes, it might be demanding at that time, at that point of time, but planning ahead and knowing how you want to execute that helps a lot. So it's all about, again, planning and prioritization, I guess.
So another challenging question here, Ms. Suneetha Alokam. How would you define women empowerment and your role as a female music administrator and a visionary? I like to call you a visionary. So how would you contribute to the efforts of women empowerment and gender parity, and how would you like to see the women empowerment taken to the next stage?
The word women empowerment is like the term art. It can be seen in many different ways. I see it as women or girls having the power to express themselves freely as equal members of the society. Even in dance and music, there are so many preconceived notions like certain instruments are to be played by male artists and dance is dominated by female artists. This is changing, this mindset is changing, but still we have to be at a point where we don't have to call an artist female tabla artist or a male dancer. Recently, Sarvakal has conducted a female tabla artist festival, which was very well received by the audience. Maybe we'll do something like this male dance festival, but we really hope that we come to a situation in future, like I said, where we don't have to call them male artists or female artists. They are artists.
Sunita ji, this pandemic, the global pandemic, has thrown a lot many challenges, and really the organizations, whether it is a corporate organization or a non-profit charity organization, they all had to adapt because it was completely unforeseen. So, as a music visionary and as an administrator, how did you face the pandemic? What are the major challenges you are facing, and what are possible opportunities also you are seeing during this pandemic?
Yeah, COVID has such huge impact. It is a game changer for sure. There are many challenges, like if you want to do a live performance with various artists from different parts of the world, it can be difficult, but it's not doable. However, there's this vast explosion of OTT platforms and then online streaming. Also, music has been a greater emotional saving grace during these difficult times. And Sarvakal team has been conducting music programs every day, reaching to wider audience. So it has opened up many opportunities to reach wider audience. Also, the students can go online for learning. Now there's so much more help online. because it has become almost like normal. And there's so much the artist can perform online as well. Every event is online, so it's in a way it's cost effective as well. So yeah, that's one positive side of this.
Very well said, Sunita ji. That reminds me that last year, just before this Ramadan, we went to Islamic Society, and after Ramadan, to wish happy Eid, we went again with some great leaders of Alberta, and there the person who is the leader there in the Islamic Society, Mr. Taraban, he said, the pandemic has so many challenges, but it has opened a few opportunities because during this month of Ramadan, the kind of donations they get is equal to the rest of the 11 months. And the organization was thinking that this time probably it will be cut down by 90%. They'll be left with only 10% residual. But it happened the other way around. When the message went throughout the globe, the donations were poured in from throughout the globe. And in fact, they ended up by getting about 5 times more contribution during pandemic than the other years when there were no pandemic. So Sunita ji, we are drawing towards the close of this conversation. So before I let you go, I know that you are, also by profession, you're a microbiologist. So why not the audience get a very, very simple overview of the vaccines? The two major types we know are vector type or mRNA type. So what are the major differences, and how would you like to elaborate in a nutshell for our very valuable Sarvakal audience, please?
We are switching gears a little bit from music to vaccines. So as you asked, what's the major difference between vector-based vaccine, which is AstraZeneca that is using this technology, and mRNA technology that Moderna or Pfizer are using mRNA technology. So in vector-based vaccines, the gene encoding for the spike protein is inserted into a vector, and when this vector is a harmless virus usually, and then when it is when the vector virus along with this inserted DNA for spike protein is inserted into host cell, so they use the host cell machinery to replicate and produce more spike proteins. Against these spike proteins, antibodies are generated, and that's how the host immune system responds and then remembers this response. So in future, if that individual is affected by COVID, the immune system is set to generate antibodies against the spike protein antigens. Coming to mRNA technology, in mRNA technology, the mRNA encoding for the protein is encased in a lipid, and then that is inserted into the host cell. So the mRNA directly synthesizes spike proteins, and to these spike proteins, the host cell generates antibodies. That is how the immune system responds. So this is the major difference. They both work against generating antibodies for the spike protein, but in vector-based, we are using the whole DNA, whereas in mRNA technology, we are just using the mRNA.
Sunita ji, that was very well explained, and for laymen, so many like me who are not microbiologists, they also had a very good insight with the difference of mRNA versus vector type. Now we are at the concluding part of our conversation, and it has been a great conversation. We would like to know that how would Suneetha Alokam would like to be remembered, and also the top 3 messages you have for the audience of Sarvakal and the motivators and appreciators of Indian classical music in general.
I would like to continue volunteering for music and dance events and promoting the art in whatever small way I could. And my messages would be for young learners to learn, whether it's classical music or dance, learn from gurus who have strong foundation and who are passionate about the art. It's a wholesome experience, and also be very open to learning. Attend as many workshops as possible, and also attend the concerts by these eminent artists. There is so much that one can learn by just watching these performances. That is what I would like to tell my young audience.
Thank you, Miss Suneetha Alokam. That was a great conversation with you, and I hope the audience have also enjoyed, in a true sense, to me, a great visionary who is Suneetha Alokam, who is certainly walking in the footsteps of our leader Harjit Singh Ji, and I hope you will be contributing in many more forms to the Indian classical music. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Indranil ji, for having me here with you today. And thanks to Sarvakal team. Our sincere thanks and appreciation goes to Sarvakal team for their passion and dedication in promoting Indian classical music and dance. Thank you all again. Namaste.
Thank you very much, the audience of Sarvakal TV, a very knowledgeable audience of Sarvakal TV. Please do share the YouTube link and request your friends and any music lover to subscribe to the YouTube channel of Sarvakal, and also kindly press the bell icon. I will be soon bringing in the next episode. Until then, bye for now.